Good morning. I'll just hold on and see if anybody jumps onto the live. I'm a little bit later than usual this morning. I realised that I didn't have any coffee left in my coffee pot, so I needed to make some more. Good morning. It's a really nice sunny morning here in Edinburgh, which actually it has been for the past few mornings, and then it's kind of clouded over in the afternoon, but there's a definite autumnal feeling about. So if you haven't watched these little videos before, I sort of call them knits and cake for breakfast, because before lockdown I was running a Wednesday evening knit night, and I would always do some baking. So I've been trying to carry on doing some baking, and there would always be some leftovers. So on a Thursday morning, after I dropped my kids at school, I would have a bit of the leftover cake for my breakfast. So that's the idea behind these little videos on a Thursday morning. This week it's been a wee bit of a holiday week in Edinburgh, so my kids are off school on Monday there, and then I had a bit of a day off on Tuesday as well. So I haven't done any baking this week. I feel a wee bit like I've cheated. Oh, hello, somebody else with a Coraline jumper on. I will come back to this in a minute. So I have a donut instead, which I didn't make. Yeah, I think this one is a Reese's Pieces one. I think that's what these are, like peanut butter things on, and it's got loads of icing on it. Oh, and actually it's got some kind of filling. I didn't really think it would because it's a ring donut, but it's very, very sweet. So that's going to give me a real sugar hit. I will eat the rest of that later, I think. So I've got my Coraline jumper on. It's finished with my longer sleeves, which I'm pleased to say fit quite nicely. And I won't be able to show you really, but this version is more cropped than my original pattern. And it's also got a dipped hem at the back. And I've knitted a few jumpers recently with a dipped hem at the back, and I quite like that style. I don't know how you feel about it. And I thought, well, actually it's not that difficult to work out how to do it. You know, you could put it into any pattern if you like that effect. So what you have to do is do some short rows across the back stitches. So if you worked out how much of a lower hem you wanted at the back, and then say you wanted 5 centimeters, and then you could either measure the knitting that you've already got to work out how many rows that would be, or you could look at your gauge from the pattern and see how many rows that would need to be. And then your short rows, you know, are going backwards and forwards across, so you could work out how many short rows that would be. And then I would start the short rows a little bit past the halfway, the sort of underarm midpoint, so they're coming round to the front of the stitches a little bit, for the first short row, and the second one will go to the other side, and then you will gradually move it in, and the gap between them will depend. You have to take your stitch count and then work out the gap between them, depending on how many rows you wanted. So what you don't want to do is end up, if you're starting in the middle of the back, you don't want your last short row to be only a few stitches in between them. Otherwise I think you'll end up with a more of a pointy dipped hem than a rounded one. So what I thought I will do is, it's kind of hard to explain just like this. So I'm going to write up a blog post explaining how you might do that, because there is a wee bit of maths involved, but it's not anything too complicated. And And as I say, it's really just about how much of a drop at the back on the bottom hem that you want to have. And I suppose you could also do a dipped hem at the front so that the sides are up a little bit higher, and then it dips down at the front and goes up at each side, and you could have the same at the back. So I'm going to write that up as a blog post on my website, because you really could add that in to any jumper pattern, sweater pattern, cardigan that you wanted to, I guess. And you know, you can always try it on, and if you didn't like it, you could just rip it back, and that's not too tricky because you're only dealing with like half of the stitches, the back of the jumper. So good morning, there's a few more people joining us. So the Coraline sweater, it was originally in Knit Now magazine last year, and I've been working on a self-published version, and I've got lots of lovely preview knitters working away on some more versions, and I'm going to release the pattern next Friday. So I always give newsletter subscribers a discount on new patterns. So if you would like to get the pattern with a wee bit of a discount, you can sign up to the mailing list. There's a link in my profile actually on Instagram, or you can go over to the website, which is maddieharveydesigns.com. So the other things I've been working on this week are my blanket squares for the Knit Now close knit along. So I don't know if you've heard of this blanket knit along. It's being published in Knit Now magazine, and there's 10 different sections. They're not actually squares. They're 2 of them are square-ish, the rest of them are rectangles. So that's part, you can see part of the blanket there. So 10 different designers were asked to take part, and there's a design from each designer using a pattern motif, and then I was asked by Knit Now magazine to pull it together and make it into a blanket. And the yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners, the name's gone out of my head, Colour Lab double knit, and they did it as a subscription package, so you got the yarn for free if you subscribed. So we're on to, I think we're on to number 4. I have got a little bit behind with my own knit along, which is not great, but I'm catching up. So I'm actually doing one in sort of natural sheepy yarn that I will tell you about in a minute. So that's the first one, the first square, which was, the stitch pattern was taken from a pattern by Dawn Henderson, and each designer, when their section is featured that month, they get a little feature all about them and their designs. So it's a really nice like travelling stitch cable. So that was the first one, and then the second one was the slip stitch pattern by Jeanette Sloan. It's it's mosaic knitting, which was really good fun to do. I had never done it before really. So that was the second one. And then the third one I've just cast on. So I don't know if you'll really be able to see it very well. It's got some lace eyelets, and it's the beeswax pattern by Amy van der Laar. And actually, if I hold up this one, you'll be able to see. It's this one here. So I think she has that one as a shawl and a scarf. Yeah, so that was the third one. So as I say, I'm a little bit behind. And then the fourth one, which just came out last week, is a pattern by Françoise Denoy, who I think she goes by the name Frenchie, or Rohan Knits. So it's from a cowl pattern that she has, and it's a colour work square. So I'm going to use this. This is Wensleydale, undyed Wensleydale, and this very, very dark brown, which is Black Welsh Mountain. So I'm doing mine blanket in all natural shades, which is yarn that I bought for doing Louise Scully's wool work breed swatch along. Not last year, the year before, so Christmas 2018. I bought all the different breed yarns that were going to be in the swatch along, and then I didn't quite get to doing the swatch along. But when I looked at the blanket, it needs, I think it's 6 different colours. I had 6 different natural shades, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm using the Wensleydale as the cream that's in the pattern. And then I've got this one, the first square, which I did in. Now I've got a very no expense spared plastic bag with all the balls of yarn in. That one was in the Norfolk Horn. I think that'll be back to front for you, which I got from Black Bat, which was really nice to work with. That would make a fantastic like a Gansey style jumper, I think. It's really nice. And then I've also got the one that I'm using to do the beeswax pattern is US yarn Cheviot, which has got I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it's got a little bit of a halo and it's working up nicely. And then I also have some Shetland double knit from Blacker, so that's going in, and so is the Castle Milk Murret from Blacker, which is really bouncy. I'm looking forward to knitting with that one. So I've got quite a bit of variety, and I've tried to, because I know what the other squares are like, I've tried to balance them out. So the ones where I've got you know, a different colour, 2 colours together, I've used the ones with the highest contrast. So hi Kirsty. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think it's going to look nice. I'm really making it for my caravan because as caravans, you know, have the tendency towards browns, shades of browns on their interior. I thought that these shades would work really well for the caravan. So it's going to go on the back of the sofa when it's done. Yeah, and I just had the proof through for the 5th section to read, and I'm quite excited. The order that the magazine are running it in is really nice because you get a bit of variety. So yeah, if you were interested in joining in with that, as I say, it's not too late to catch up because one square, it's not a huge amount of knitting, and you can get the back issues. I think they've got them probably in paper, but also they'll have digital copies of Knit Now, and you can get the previous sections. I'm not sure if the subscription offer is still running to get the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. The colours were really nice, and actually the yarn was lovely to work with. I wasn't sure when I first got it, but it was really nice, and I would definitely use that yarn again. And I think it's machine washable too. So you could have a look on the Knit Now website. I think it's just knitnowmag.com or .co.uk. Anyway, thank you for joining me this morning. I'll be back doing an Instagram live next Thursday, when hopefully I will have done some baking and I won't be eating a donut for my breakfast. If you're just joining me, I will be posting the video in my grid in a wee while, so if you want to catch up on anything that you've missed, including news about this jumper, you can do that a wee bit later on. Okay, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye.